You might think February is a bleak month for foraging, but if you find yourself in a country lane or hedgerow not too dissimilar to this, you might bypass a very delectable edible that you might mistake for grass, but in actual fact, it packs quite a punch. So this one is Allium triquetrum, otherwise known as three-cornered leek. It gets its name from the shape of the leaf, which you can see there has three sides. It's actually an invasive species and the bane of many gardeners, but if you're into foraging, this is actually a really good substitute for spring onion, garlic or leek. It's slightly more subtle than wild garlic, so you can add it fresh into salads or toss it in the end of your food. If you have landowner's permission and you're able to dig them up, you can see that the bulbs are basically little mini onions and the stems really do like little leeks. Now the whole part of this plant can be used. When it comes to flowering, it has bright white flowers. You might accidentally mistake them for snowdrops, and I'll find some footage of that in just a moment. But the smell is unmistakable. You get that fresh onion garlicky taste. So yeah, if you wanted to preserve some for later on in the year, you could also have a go at lacto-fermentation, which we can go into more detail in another time. With the dullness of winter finally behind us, a telltale sign that spring has finally arrived is the emergence of bright, vibrant flowers, and one of the first to make an appearance is our common primrose. Right, so this spring edible is called primrose, and I'm pretty sure most of you would have seen this. The Latin is Primula vulgaris, which means the first common, and primrose basically means first flower. So if we look at the leaves, they're crinkly, oblong, kind of dark to light green, and obviously the flowers, lovely pale yellow colour. So we can use the leaves raw in salads, or we can cook them up like you would any other leafy green. They've got quite a sweet flavour when they're young, going to quite bitter, almost like rocket when they get a little bit older. The flowers, we can just use them as they are to garnish a salad. We can candy them to add to desserts and cakes. You can use them to infuse vinegars, cordials, other drinks really. A potential lookalike could be foxglove or digitalis, which instead of being narrow, getting wide to the top as primrose is, it's kind of inverted and it looks a lot more pointy. Springtime is an exciting time to be foraging, and due to Cornwall's mild climate, we get a little surprise a lot sooner than the rest of the country. And of course, I'm talking about one of my favourites, wild garlic. Ramsons, or wild garlic, known as Allium ursinum. The ursinum refers to the fact that brown bears used to dig up the bulbs and enjoy it. So one of its other colloquial names is bear leek or bear garlic. Now, easily identifiable by the lancelet style leaf, lime green, and of course it has a very, very prominent smell of garlic. I mean, you can enjoy that raw straight away. It's great. It's probably good to either add it as a garnish at the end of a meal, but you can use every single part of this plant. So obviously these leaves, we said you can use as fresh greens, you can use the stems. When it goes into flower, that's probably the most pungent part. And they're a great addition to any sort of dish. You can also lacto-ferment these as you would with the three-cornered leek. It's worth mentioning though that as this is our native species to the UK, you don't want to overpick it. So if you do go for an area, make sure you leave enough for other people and it doesn't look like you've been there. And don't uproot them. If you do that, there won't be any available for next year. So enjoy this sparingly, but please make sure you go out and enjoy it while it's in season. Another common plant that can be found pretty much everywhere in the UK, and it's probably avoided by most, would be our humble stinging nettle. Now as spring re-emerges and we have these lovely lime green leaves start to shoot out the ground, these are an absolute powerhouse of nutrition, protein, vitamin C, serotonin and all sorts of goodness. So at this stage the nettle hasn't really formed its needles, so they don't really have much of a sting. You want to be going for the lovely top vibrant green soft leaves. You can eat them as is. And they taste like fresh cucumber. Now, some of the ones that have more hairs on it, which should roll up the leaf, so literally fold it in half. Pressure and heat will destroy the sting, and eat it just like that. So some recipe ideas would be nettle tzatziki, nettle soup. You could dry them out and have them as nettle crisps. Really, really versatile green, and again available all year round. So make sure you don't miss out on this one. Another wild edible, which is available all year round and all across the UK, is of course the gorse. Easily identifiable by its bright yellow flowers and its thorny goodness. The bit we're interested in are of course these flowers. Let's see there. Now you can eat these as they are, and they have a taste very similar to coconut, almond, a little hint of pineapple and mango. Now, and yeah, they really do taste like that. So you could use these as a garnish on salads. You could use them to infuse vinegars, cordials, wines. It's also part of the pea family, which is worth mentioning. Don't eat the seeds because they are poisonous, but while they're in flower, all good to eat. If you happen to find yourself in any coastal areas, this time of year you'll find one emerging in abundance. That'll be a great addition to any salads. And this one is called Alexander's. Right, here's an example of a slightly more mature specimen. So Alexander was brought over by the Romans, and it's pretty much a replacement for celery. There's 3 lobed trifoliate leaves. Can be quite dark green, going to lime green. Very fragrant, quite celery-like. You can eat the leaves raw in a salad, or you can blanch them off and cook them. You can use the stems, if you have a look here, as a replacement for asparagus. So using some of the wild garlic that we found, you could fry them off in butter and they taste exceptional. The umbel florets, you could do a tempura batter and use them as a substitute for broccoli. And towards the end of summer, these turn into lovely big black seeds. And if you grind those up, it's a natural alternative to black pepper.